Do we have anyone from the public here for a comment for items that don't appear on today's agenda? All right, seeing none. Do we have any additions to the agenda this morning?
None that I'm aware of.
All right. Move on to the meeting minutes. Unless there's changes, we'll take a motion to approve the minutes for our meeting held on December 10th.
I will move to approve the minutes from the meeting held December 10th.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes from the meeting held on December 10th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to contracts, we have Glenn from the Center County Correctional Facility.
Good morning. Have for your consideration a no-cost contract renewal with the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association regarding the PA-7, which is the statewide automated victims identification and information network. If you are a victim of a crime, or really anybody can sign up if you want to know when someone is released from the correctional facility, their probation and parole status. It's a no-cost contract to the county and working in cooperation with the District Attorneys Institute. So I believe it was Commissioner Durson last year said Center County was one of the first counties to have 7 from years ago.
It was called something.
It used to be called the Vine Link was the initial name of it, and then it changed. So this is a 1-year contract, runs through the end of December 2025.
Well, it's good news, Glenn, and if there are any crime victims who would like to be added to the network, would they notify the DA or?
They can go online to the website, I think it's pa7.com,
All right.
SAVIN, and then they can register and they will get, there's different notifications you can pick. You can get text notification, email notification,
All right.
and I believe you can still get phone call notifications through the system. So,
Do you know if that's something like victims are notified of in the process when?
I
someone's
believe the
going through?
DA's office
Okay.
takes care of that in through the victims advocates.
Great, good.
All right. Wonderful. Any questions from other commissioner on this one?
Good idea.
All right, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to add the contract with the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Institute to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Institute to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn. And now we have Norm from 911 Emergency Communications with some grant funds, which are always appreciated.
Good morning. Consider acceptance of the grant funds from Pennsylvania Emergency Management, or PEMA, for statewide interconnectivity projects. This is the 7th SAC regional project grant. This grant will fund the following: offset 911 legacy telephone costs, offset cost of 911 addressing and GIS. It will fund the regional, all the regional computer-aided dispatch maintenance costs, 911 telephone system maintenance costs, regional cybersecurity plan, and a regional EZNet network maintenance. These grant funds are for the shared 911 regional project and reimbursements of other costs that the county provides, and these all provide significant savings to the county 911 budget, offsetting costs we would typically have to fund from other 911 funding or county general funds. The grant total is $357,948.70 for the period of January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
Great, thank you, Norm, and the commissioners definitely appreciate the reimbursement from the state legislature and the governor, and we do urge the legislature to reauthorize the 911 system and funding. I believe we have until the end of next year, but that'll be here before we know it.
Yes.
Commissioner
Okay.
Concepcion, any comments or
No,
questions?
sounds good.
Commissioner Dershowitz? All right, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to accept the grant funds from the statewide interconnectivity projects.
We have a motion and a second to accept the grant funds for the statewide interconnectivity projects. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Norm. All right, now we'll move on to an item for the sheriff. Oh, and Brian is here.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm here requesting funding today for tasers and body cameras. When initial contract runs out this February, it needs to be signed before the end of the year for a savings of, I think, around $2,600 plus this year's pricing. And then it won't be any interruption into our service as well with the body cameras. It's a little more, we had to increase our licenses. You can't share body cameras. You can share the body camera, but you can't share a license. So we had to request more licenses with the addition of Centercrest as well, and we had to get more taser licenses as well. So, pardon me. So that's why it's increased a little bit, but it's the way of the world now with law enforcement. Everything has a shelf life. The tasers are shelf-lifed out with no backups for them, no support for them. So they're at the end of life, and also body cameras they'll replace them. It's a good, Axion makes probably the best product, user-friendly, so it's what everyone's going to. Most law enforcement in Centre County have Axion as well, with both things, tasers and body cameras. So I know the initial payments broke down over 5 years for both. Total contracts probably right around $250,000. Broke down, I think, $135 for tasers and $110 or some change for body cameras. So it is. I hate to say it is what it is, but it is what it is with the way things. That's the way they make law enforcement equipment. Everything has a shelf life, and you can't use it forever. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're requesting a total of this year of 24,973 and 27,170.98 to get the contract started.
Great, thanks for.
Any questions? I'll be trying to answer the best of my
Sure.
ability.
Well, thanks for detailing that, Brian, and do want to stress to the citizens, this is a 5-year contract.
Correct,
So
5-year
it's,
contract. broken down.
Approaching
Yeah.
$50,000 a year.
A year, that's correct. So,
But as you said, the equipment wears out, there are licenses involved, and these items are to both protect our deputies and the citizens of
It's-
Centre County.
It's protect both. I mean, it's less lethal force option, and also, our deputies, the body cameras are, I think, one of the best things made on the market, because
Yeah.
you can't order that. So we can't order that at all, so.
Right.
Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, I think that's good. Thanks for all the detail on this.
Yeah. Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to approve the contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. For next week's consent agenda.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. And Gary, did you have a question?
Does your personnel use body cams for all calls, or is it only certain? If I don't,
But they wear them for everything. The people on the road, some of the deputies in the courtrooms have them as well, but they're only if some issue would happen in the courtroom. The airport shares one. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have two over at the Centercrest building. So, because there's such a big building, I want one person each to have one over there. It's gonna be staffed with 2 full-time people as well. But no, they have one, they run all the time, but they don't record. They record themselves if you don't,
yeah, you
initiate the
mentioned
report.
because we're not allowed to have cameras in courtrooms, I want, but you guys.
No, it's only if if something would go down. It's only usually 1 or 2 people roving that have the cameras in the courtroom. So they don't record unless there's an incident, so.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Gary. Great question. Anything else? Well, thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it. All right, now, moving on to probation, we have Ryan.
Hey. Good morning. I am here for a contract renewal with Reconnect to provide call to test services for probation clients. The cost of this is $660 per month per individual that is ordered to complete this call to test service. And what this is treatment court participants who are ordered to provide urine samples are required to call in daily, and that service then determines whether or not they would actually come in and test. So we have contracted in the 25 budget $8,000 for this service, but we do receive somewhat of a reimbursement from the IP grant that pays, I think this year we budgeted about $1,400. So a portion of this is reimbursed by the IP grant.
Great, well, thanks for detailing that, Ryan. So this is part of the relatively new drug court, and it allows the citizens to go to work and go about their business, but then it's also random. So when it says you need to come in, then you do need to come in.
Correct.
All right. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
How long do they have to come in once they get that call?
There's timeframes allotted. It all depends on the situation, whether they have a job or if they don't. And we
Okay.
work with those individuals. If they do have a job, either we'll go to their work site and test them,
Oh,
or
okay.
there's times that we do require them to come in.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Good question, Commissioner Dershowitz.
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
I'll move to add the contract with Reconnect Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
We'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Reconnect Inc. to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, and our recent celebrity, Melanie, is here from the Elections Department.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm asking for your approval of the contract renewal with William Penn Printing. This is a 5-year contract for our ballot printing, so they would do our election day and our provisional ballots, and they also do our supply boxes and anything else that we would need from election supplies.
Great, well, thanks for locking that price in for 5 years. I think that's
Yeah,
going to come in
that's
handy.
a good price.
Yes. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments or questions?
No, you've been pretty happy with their service.
Yes, yeah, we're really happy with William Penn. I like them.
Okay.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Oh, we're good, thank you.
I know they're one of the leading printers in that very small field. Any questions from the press on this one? No? All right, we'll take a motion then.
Then I'll move to approve the contract with William Penn Printing Company.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with William Penn Printing Company. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Melanie.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to capital projects, and Jonathan's hard to miss, but you're around the corner there.
Good morning.
Morning.
This morning, I'm asking for your consideration and approval for a contract addendum with Hoffman Leakey Architects to provide additional design services for electrical upgrades at the sheriff's office. This contract total is $10,250.
Thank you, Jonathan. I believe this is partially related to heating, ventilation, and air conditioning upgrades.
Yes,
Is
we
that-
currently have a project that's being designed to renovate the second floor, and with that, we discovered that the electrical service at the building is inadequate to handle the new load that is required.
And I believe that equipment is also older than most people in this room.
Yes,
Yes.
the current electrical switchgear is from the early 1970s.
All right.
It is obsolete, so it's time for a needed upgrade.
All right. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion? Commissioner Dershowitz? All right, we'll take a motion.
Move to approve the contract addendum with Hoffman Leakey Architects LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract addendum with Hoffman Leakey Architects LLC. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thank you,
Thank you.
Jonathan. All right, and then Krista has 4 items for us.
How about that loading up on you this
Yeah.
morning? Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So the first item that I have for you is the approval of a contract with Americhem. They're a cleaning vendor that we work with. But we actually have 19 cleaning machines in our buildings, and they can be anything from eye mops to moto scrubbers to floor burnishers. And it's not uncommon for the supervisor to come to me to say, it died. You know, one of the things died last night kind of thing. So Americhem has offered a program that we would like to enter in with them. It's preventative maintenance. So next year they would come on site twice during the year and just look over all our machines and service them and do anything that they needed to for preventative maintenance. So that cost of that contract would not exceed $3,079. That's because of parts that they have decided to put in as an estimate, but may not need those parts. So that's why it's a not to exceed amount. So the full contract is $3,079 for a period of January 1 to December 31 of 2025.
Great. keep going.
Keep moving
huh?
on? Okay.
Keep moving on.
All right, for the next item, our workers' compensation renewal. PMA Companies has always been good to us, and we'd like to stay with them for our renewal. And I'll just go into a little bit of a background. This amount for workers' comp next year is $155,601. That is a 2.2% increase, which is fantastic in this market. Our payroll has increased, which is a definite indicator of premiums. So you'd think that we would have a higher increase, but our experience mod is 0.612, which is really fantastic. We've not been that low ever. So with having that experience mod and our payroll increase, that's why we're just looking at a 2.2% increase. So the total contract amount from January 1 to January 1 of 25 to January 1 of 26 is $155,601. And moving to item 3, the PMA also likes us to, actually, our commissioners to sign an agreement. It's called a program agreement endorsement. It's a pretty significant document that they like to have that goes along with the renewal. And it just repeats and indicates that, that we agree on our large deductible program. We agree to have a letter of credit from our local bank. And it's just kind of restating the effects of our policy. But that is an agreement that I'd like for you to sign. So we wanted to have that on the agenda today. And then the fourth item is about a crime policy with Travelers Casualty Insurance for a period of January 1, 25 to January 1, 26 for an amount of $2,463. And that amount is static. It was the same last year.
Great. Well, overall, I think that's great news, Krista, and thanks to yourself and the Safety Committee and the entire staff at Center County Government. I don't think I've ever worked with a company that's had an experience mod of 0.6 anything. For those of you at home, I think 1 is the average.
Yes.
And it's something of a logarithmic scale. So I think most companies are clustered between 0.8, and they're pretty happy to be 0.8, up to about 1.2, 1.3. And as you go above that, it gets really expensive.
Very good assessment. You're right.
And
Yep.
we spent a lot of time on this, Krista, which is another reason why the $155,000 total is also a pretty low number
Yes.
for an organization of our size that does as many things as we do. So appreciate all that, and great work on the other parts of the contracts, too.
Thanks.
Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, just thanks for this. That's really, thank you for you and the Safety Committee and the work that you've done, because that also represents injuries that haven't happened for our employees, which is the
Yes.
most important thing. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, thanks for all that work and the commitment you all have. It's really, doing good things for taxpayers, but especially for our employees, avoiding risks.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
That's great news. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to add the risk management items 1 through 4 to next week's consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second to add the 4 items for risk management to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks,
Thank you,
Krista.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
All right, now Chad is here with some vital maintenance and support for remote access, I believe.
Yes, good morning. Contract renewal with Citrix, who is a software we use for staff remote access into our systems. The contract is through CDWG. It's a 1-year contract for $22,320.
Great, thanks, Chad. Any questions by the commissioner on that one? We'll take a motion.
I'll move to add the contract with CDWG to next week's consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with CDWG LLC to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
All right, I see why Carrie snuck in there from Criminal Justice Planning. We have a project modification request.
Yes, requesting the board consider approving the submission of a project modification request to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for our current indigent defense grant for the Public Defender's Office. It's necessary to modify the current proposed travel training section due to a change in the selected training. The original training that they had hoped to attend, they were not accepted to. Apparently, you have to have a capital case pending in order to attend the training. So thankfully, we do not have that to occur. So they selected a different training. There was just some slight changes in travel-related costs. I had to modify the budget for PCCD standards, and it was only slightly over what we originally budgeted for training, but we had some underspent funds in another line item to kind of plug in there. So just looking for permission to submit that modification.
Great, well, we appreciate the flexibility at PCCD. Any questions from the commissioner on that one? No?
I'll move to approve the product modification request to PCCD for the Indigent Defense Grant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the project modification request to PCCD for the Indigent Defense Grant. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Moving on to Human Services, as a group, kind of the largest part of the county. Julia has an item for children and youth.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here before you to consider the approval of a contract with Easter Seals Western and Central PA to provide childcare services. Contract total is $10,000, with the state share being $8,000 and the county share being $2,000. This is to add an additional daycare, childcare setting to the complement that CYS has.
Great, that's wonderful. I've attended a number of their events in the past 9 years. Good group of people. Any questions from either commissioner on this one?
I know.
No?
They
All right.
provide childcare for kids with disabilities as well. So
Yes.
they really specialize in that. I'll move to add the contract with Easter Seals of Western and Central PA to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Easter Seals Western and Central PA to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
All right, and now Quentin from our Aging Department has 2 items.
Hi, I'm asking for consideration to approve a competitive grant for the Bellefonte Senior Center to purchase new furnishings for the senior center for an amount of $46,408 for July 1st, 25 through June 30th, 26. Also, we're looking at the Phillipsburg Senior Center and replacing the HVAC system. The system is as old as I am and is now to the point where extreme temperatures, it is not maintaining. So we're requesting assistance to have that replaced. So I want to give a little background. The way that the state has it set up now, the Department of Aging, they either can request a competitive grant, which there's basically $1 million in Pennsylvania to give out to the senior centers. And you can go for that, and that's what these 2 are. If you decide not to, then you get the funds what are called non-competitive, which are guaranteed at least $2,000 per senior center in Pennsylvania. Last year, we got $2,500 per senior center. So these are the 2 that we're looking to go competitive. Competitive grants are renovations, equipment, programming that is geared towards increasing or maintaining participation in the senior centers. So it can't be used for rent or for utilities or those types of things.
Great, well, thanks, Quentin, and obviously we would urge our legislators and the governor to support these 2 competitive grants. And of course, HVAC is incredibly important around here for most of the year. I've been in the Bellefonte Senior Center a number of times, and new furnishings would be very appreciated, I'm sure.
So those new furnishings would go in the new Bellefonte Senior Center.
So originally, we were hoping to get additional items to be able to transfer everything over. We were told that we have to wait till next year to request additional furnishings for the new space. So what we're doing is replacing what we have now and then going to be moving it to the new center.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'll move to approve aging items 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 items for aging. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Quentin.
All right, thank you.
And now Kathy is covering a large contract that spans multiple departments.
Yes, we have quite a contract here for the board to consider today. This is a contract renewal with Service Access and Management, who provides independent consultation and our fiscal management services. This is for the MHID EI DNA office, the aging office, and the transportation department. The contract, this is a 3-year contract from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2027. So it will cover 3 fiscal years. And the contract total for all, technically 4 departments, for that 3-year period totals $2,526,061. And so a little history, because this is quite a sizable contract. MHID was the first office to access financial management services through SAM Inc. That occurred at a time when the MHID administrator and the fiscal officer retired at the same time. At the time, we had a fiscal officer and 5 fiscal staff. And we were having this was the second fiscal officer to retire in about a 3-year period. And we were having a very difficult time recruiting people to fill that position at the salary that we were offering at the time. So the recommendation was made to contract out fiscal management, as it was felt that doing so through a provider agency would result in greater success in recruitment and in a quality staff that could be maintained. So the contract was made with SAM Inc. And at the time, they provided the fiscal officer and they hired the 4 fiscal staff from the MHID office. So the county was able to give up 5 staff positions, but the 4 employees that were currently employed by the county were hired by SAM. So there were no jobs lost in the process. It was a 3-year contract at the time. I believe when aging came on next, they had their fiscal officer retire. They may have also had a tech position at one point. That position was vacant, and so the fiscal officer was managing both positions. Fiscal officer retired. Aging came on next to SAM Inc. So those 2 positions, the county didn't have to fill. And then transportation, I believe, excuse me, came on with SAM Inc. in January of 2020. In looking at the numbers, this is about a 2% increase over last year. And some of the duties that SAM Inc. does for us across all the departments, knew this would happen, includes paying all invoices, processing them for payment, preparing all entries for all incoming departments, assisting county staff with the planning allocations for individual providers, tracking of expenditures against the available funds that we have, preparing forecasting reports for the department heads, preparing all required related reporting and filing of reports after county review and approval, preparing the county budget for each department, advising county personnel on an allowable use of funds, getting back to us with responses and feedback, ideally by the end of the next business day. They meet with us monthly by department to discuss income and expenditures. So sorry. They provide backup for county auditors as that is requested. And they have been key in the implementation of the new Unity SAP by Design system that has just rolled out as part of county government. The funds that are being allocated, $2 million sounds like a lot of money. For each year, the cost for each year is roughly $800,000. That provides us with a director of fiscal operations, a senior accountant, an accounting manager, 3 accountants, and 2 fiscal technicians. They are requesting the addition of the 3rd accountant this year. With the addition of the new finance system, there are more steps. It's a more involved program. It works fabulously. And the steps that we have implemented allows Sam to carry the lion's share of the work. And I see invoices once for approval. It works out fantastically. Don't know if fantastically is a word, but works for me. What they are doing is each department has its own accountant, and then the fiscal techs handle the manual transactions for the accountants to approve. The new accountant that's being brought on will be a floater across all the departments, helping out wherever the assistance is needed. So, we still have bugs to work out. I know aging has a system that stuff has to be entered into. They're working out those issues and getting that understanding figured out. Obviously, the new accounting manager, or the new accountant needs to come up to speed across all the departments if they're going to be a floater. We continue to work on day-to-day. Do we have what we need? Do we have the dollars that we need? Today we have it. Tomorrow invoices come in and things change. Forecasting is a blessing, shall we say, when it comes to finances and dollars. But I think we've got a great relationship with Sam, open dialogue, and I recommend that we continue working with them at this time.
Well, great, thanks, Kathy. I believe at this point, SAM Inc. provides services to virtually every county in Pennsylvania and a substantial fraction of the counties in New Jersey. I think they've got 70 now. I think they're with about 70
there's a
different
number
counties.
they do have a presence in a lot of counties. Not all of them are fiscal,
Right.
but they do a lot of work in a lot of different places. We've also utilized some of their higher level operations staff
Yes.
for consultation as needed, which has been very helpful at times.
Yeah, yeah. I know we used Paul quite a bit a few years
Yes.
back, and he's fabulous.
Yes.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
It seems like it's a system that's working out, and it seems that it's financially in our favor to have this as a consulting service rather than in-house.
Yeah, I think so.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, we'll take a motion then.
Then I'll move to approve the contract with Service Access Management, Inc.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Service Access Management, Inc. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
We have a pretty small consent agenda this week.
I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We'll move on to the check run. I believe Commissioner
Yeah,
Concepcion
we have
is covering that.
a very lengthy check run in terms of the length of it this time. We have the hundreds of community members who really provide their time for running elections. So all of those elections workers that you see in your polling places, they do get a small stipend, and that is in our check run today. And we're just really grateful to all of them for the time they put in. It's a really long day, and many of them put in time planning for the election ahead of time as well. So thankful for their efforts in helping us run a smooth election process. With that, I'll move that we approve the check run dated December 13th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated December 13th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. John, do we have an administrator's report this morning?
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. All right. Moving to other reports. Do we have a voter's registration
do.
report? Oh, good.
Okay, so today the total number of voters on our rolls is 110,076. That is up 142 from last week. Of those, we have 45,229 Democratic voters, 179 Green Party, 634 Libertarian, 16,659 with no affiliation, and 44,419 Republican voters. All of the small parties comprise 2,956. Our small party of the week this week is the Aiden Party with one registered voter. Moving on then to our precinct of the week. This week we're recognizing Precinct 79, that's Spring Township South. They have 1,082 registered voters. They had a voter turnout of 81% on Election Day in November. They vote at the Center Church at 119 East College Ave in Pleasant Gap, and we'd like to thank the Center Church for the use of their facility for Precinct 79. That's the voter report.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion. Center County government offices will be closed on Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th in observance of the Christmas holiday. Obviously, it's about a week till Christmas at this point, so make sure you get those gifts purchased and wrapped, and buy local when you can. Free parking in Bellefonte and State College for at least 2 hours at a pop, and there's always free parking in Phillipsburg and Millheim and Bollesburg and many of the other downtowns in the county. John, do we have any executive sessions to report or hold?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
All right. For our public meeting schedule, we have a Board of Commissioners work session on Tuesday at 11. We have on Thursday, 2 days from now, we have the Finance Committee at 9 a.m. And then on Thursday, December 26th, we have the Board of Commissioners and the Salary Board at 10 a.m. And we thank CNET for being here the day after Christmas. Oh, no, you won't be here. That's a Thursday. Sorry. You still have a couple more days off. Do we have any questions from the press this morning?
The contract negotiations still continue with unionized personnel at the prison?
I believe so, John, if you have any more details.
Yes, they do.
Contract expires at the end of the month?
Yes. So we will extend. We'll just continue under the existing agreement until we can negotiate the final terms of a new contract.
I can't remember with the budget being passed. Has it been decided what the salary increase would be for county employees?
I'll pass that to John.
Yeah.
I think we did finalize that a couple days ago.
Yes, it's 2%.
And with the solar power agreement, do you know if some of the entities projected to be in the agreement drop out, does that increase the cost for the others that are in necessarily?
No. It would be based upon the amount of electricity that an entity would choose to commit to the solar portion versus the traditional grid power.
I was wondering, in terms of projected cost of the array or anything like that, is that?
We're not purchasing the array, so we're just purchasing the electricity. So costs relative to capital is not a part of our agreement.
Okay. That's all I have, thank you.
Thanks. Tim, do you have anything? No? All right, unless there's anything else we give the order, I think we take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 10:39. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. We're adjourned, and then we've got a work session at 11.